You guys have been asking for updates on this truck. I get this asked a lot. How is the truck doing? What's going on with this? So let's do a little recap. This is a 1984 F150 that my father picked up as a project vehicle. And we're not really sure where he's going to go with this thing, but I do know a couple of things. So right now we're in the process of cleaning up the frame, and we're going to coat it with POR15. POR15 is a pretty well-known and commonly used rust conversion chemical. It's like a paint that bonds chemically to iron oxide. And the point of using POR is you don't have to go to bare metal. And I've used it on a few things before, and it works quite well. So what I'm doing is I'm using this pin scaler, or needle scaling tool, a pneumatic tool that vibrates the metal with needles. And that's what it does. Now, this is a cheaper version of what the Navy would use on a ship's hull, but it works quite well. And what that does is it removes all the scaly rust and loose flaking coatings and everything else that might be on the frame. It's good for structural steel, like a truck frame or a car frame, but I wouldn't use it on a body because it's not exactly a gentle tool. But I use that to clean up these frame gussets, and get right down inside here. This is a solid frame. These are very hard to find in New England. You don't usually see trucks that are 15 plus years old with frames that look this good. This has no rot of any kind, which is very, very rare, again, for New England. But this truck is not from New England. This truck actually came from Maryland. It's a little bit warmer, and they don't use as much salt as we do. So the rest of the truck, we're in the process of, like, once we get the frame done, we're going to have the body sanded down to metal, and more than likely, that's the idea. And what we'll be doing is bringing it down to metal. The guy across the street owns a body shop, and he'll be doing the primer and do a catalyzed primer and top coat. Now the paint will be color matched to the factory blue, so the color is not changing. The engine's out of it, as you can clearly see. There's the I believe it's a 4-speed manual transmission. This is a 2-wheel drive truck, as you can clearly see. It's a 4-speed manual. Drivetrain staying exactly the way it was. We don't really know how many miles are on it, but it says we're thinking about 134,000, I think. So we'll be putting the engine back in once we refresh it. Let's take a look at the motor real quick. So this is the original motor. This is going back in it. All we're going to do with this is a straight 6. Nothing special. This is a bulletproof engine. Ford used these engines on a lot of vehicles for a long time. It's a very tried and true motor, very strong, very reliable, very, very durable engine. And we decided to keep this engine rather than putting in, you know, a 8-cylinder or whatever size. But this is a good engine. It ran great coming out. It does have a vacuum leak, so we're going to be pulling the motor down to the block, replacing all the gaskets and seals. Anything we find that's worn out will get replaced, but I don't expect too much internal work needed on this motor. I believe we did a compression test and it was in pretty good shape. I don't know what the readings were, but it's a good engine. There's no need to replace this engine. I mean, you know, it started life as a 2-wheel drive base model pickup, and it will die as a 2-wheel drive base model pickup. The interior has to be completely redone. My dad ordered all of the interior bits, new rubber floor, new vinyl seat, and if I end up buying this truck from my father, as I think I'm going to, I'm going to go even further with it, and I'm going to do the door panels as well as a few other odds and ends. I can get back inside. But it's full of these. But there's the interior. The door panels are in there. I don't see any bees nests, but I would imagine there would be some. The dash is in really good shape. It does have some cracking on top. But that's the other thing. You can buy an entire dash cover, dash pad for this, and they're not that expensive to replace. In fact, if I can find a factory AM/FM radio, I'll put that in if I end up buying this truck from my father, because he thinks he's going to sell it when he's done, so, or when we're done. I'm just kind of helping him out with it because it's a lot of work. So that's all that's been done. This thing, he's had it for almost a year now, and I think he got it at the end of last summer, so hasn't really done much to it. It's a lot of money to fix a vehicle up like this. It really gets expensive very fast. Of course, it's going to need a new exhaust. That tailpipe is rusting. I think we're just going to do the entire exhaust on it, make it look good underneath, because that's what really matters. When someone goes to buy a truck like this, they want to see it clean. They want to see new bolts and new hardware. They want to see, you know, evidence of very little body repair. Here's the bed. It should not be sitting like this. I don't know why he's got it sitting like this on the ground, but it is what it is. The bed is in really good shape. And last summer, he spent most of his time fixing this wheel well, wheel arch with new metal. That came out very nice. But it's got to be painted, and hopefully soon, because it will rust, as you can clearly see. Primer does not hold back rust, especially the stuff that comes out of the rattle can. It does not hold back rust. You can see one of the reasons this truck has lasted as long as it has is it was actually rust proofed from the dealer when it was new. That rust proofing is now flaking off, but it has held back a lot of rust and rot. But I mean, look at how clean this metal is. There is no rot where it matters. It's amazing. Anyway, even these supports are still intact. These are usually the first thing to go.